Right. Okay, well thank you all for coming. So today I'm going to be talking about Initiatory Wicca, and Initiatory Wicca is just one part of witchcraft. And witchcraft in one form or another has existed since the beginning of humanity and across various cultures. So the word itself comes from the Anglo-Saxon word witcher or witche, or witchcraft, which means something like the art of bending or changing things to one's will, spell casting, working with natural forces. It may also be related to the Anglo-Saxon word witan, to know, but it doesn't actually come from the word witan. So it's a misconception that witchcraft means the craft of the wise, because that would be wittercraft, not witchcraft. But the words wit and wisdom and wizard do all come from that Anglo-Saxon word witan. Anthropologists use the word witchcraft to describe certain shamanic and generally black magic practices common to many tribal societies. Now, although harmful magic can be practiced and cursing can be a part of witchcraft and even a part of Wicca, it's not something I'm going to be looking at today and covering, and it's not something I recommend. There is something in Wicca known as the law of threefold return, which says that whatever you give out, you get back threefold. Some people believe in that, some people don't. I take it as something that is kind of, it's not to be taken totally literally, but it does mean that whatever you give out comes back to you eventually. So the term witchcraft has often been used as a negative term to denote harmful magic, and it should be noted that the cunning men of England and Wales didn't call themselves witches. The word witch was actually a negative term in the past. It's only in modern times that it's kind of been claimed by pagans to be a more kind of positive term. So witchcraft was associated with curses and harmful magic. And the witch hunts, contrary to the beliefs of some modern pagans, were not about rounding up and executing the nature worshippers and all the peaceful female healers. They were more about a hysteria about people putting curses. So it was only actually bad magic that was illegal and punishable by death. So the cunning men, cunning women were allowed to do their healing and be midwives and all that sort of stuff. But the problem was that if someone worked magic, and they were known to work magic, and so then someone had it in for them, they could accuse them of cursing and of evil magic as well. And so it did get somewhat out of hand. And there were a fanatical belief that certain people were in league with the devil and were cursing and harming others. So it was harmful magic that was illegal and punishable by death, not the healing charms of the cunning folk. It's also noteworthy that the witch hunts barely existed in Wales at all, as there was no Welsh word which was equivalent to the Anglo-Saxon word witche, or witch. Although heresy was also a crime, and pagans were certainly persecuted in the early days of Christianity, there's little evidence that either the witches or the witch trials or the cunning folk considered themselves to be pagans either. So the cunning folk would have been doing magic, and they may have invoked some local spirits, but they would also have likely prayed to Jesus and Mary. And we know from some grimoires that still exist from cunning folk that there are prayers that use angelic magic, and they use prayers to Jehovah and Jesus, etc. And a lot of local folk charms as well. They might call on the Green Man or the Spirit of the Corn and Mary. So it was all pretty mixed up. There was no real pagan witchcraft or pagan cunning man tradition at that time. Again, it's more of a modern thing that witchcraft has become associated with paganism. The witchcraft itself is a practice. It's the practice of magic, spellcasting, and it can be connected with any religion or no religion. So there could be Christian witches, and most of the cunning men were Christians. There can be Islamic witches, there can be atheist witches, and there can be satanic witches. but they are really just inverted Christians. So folk traditions often preserve elements of earlier pagan belief and practice, but they were mixed in with the contemporary beliefs of the time, which was Christianity. Whilst beliefs in various spirits such as fairies, elves, nature spirits, to be worshipped by any of the cunning folk, though they may be continued to be called on in spells in a transformed form, becoming